Dunkachino! What's up, bro? Drink alcohols, plant a crop. Ooh, I gotta use the thing in teammates camp. Tariq Nasheed. What do you think about Dr. Umar? I don't know who Dr. Umar is. Okay, I will use... Tariq Nasheed, yeah, the breaking butt guy. Well, Chris, you seem to be rather dumb because nobody here supports him. Fly swatter. Reaching clear. Hey, Henry. Yeah, actually, they've pretty much fixed almost all the bugs. There's only some minor ones left. What's so special about Mailbag 14? I wonder. Chris, I'm sorry. I know. Yeah, I know. If anybody disagrees with fascists, it must be MSNBC. Surprised you weren't marching. Oh, nice. I'm surprised you aren't marching lock and step with Hitler and the rest of the brown shirts when they convened on the German pod, the Bundestag. But they're working class people. Convoy didn't do nothing. Oh, god damn it. Come on, dig up. Well, I know today Trudeau gave the order to shut them down, use the Emergency Measures Act, which I'm surprised he didn't do it sooner. What the fuck? Going mining. What's with the empty fucking containers? Dicks. Jesus Christ. Hey, Chris. People didn't like it, therefore it's wrong. Yeah, logical fallacy, appeal to popularity. You're the kind of guy who can walk into a room full of Nazis and go, see, popular here, therefore good. Besides, the vast majority of my viewers are fucking American, and God help them, Americans they're not very bright. They don't know shit about what's going on in Canada, just like they don't know shit about what's going on in the rest of the world. They just see people and then, oh yeah, they think racist, fascist things like I do. They fascist like I is fascist, must support. That's all they hear. They're too dumb to look at the links of the Conservative Party funding the whole thing. The fact that this has nothing to do with vaccine mandates. It has everything to do with trying to force Justin Trudeau to step down. I don't want Trudeau to step down. I want capitalism to step down. I want the whole fucking system gone, not some figurehead in it. Oh, you're saying that the CPI Toby Caleb and his inner circle building the anti-communist movement. Are building an anti-communist movement. Yeah, yeah, I wouldn't be fucking surprised. They are literally supporting the opposite of communism, so I wouldn't have to agree with that. Warmed Puma, my ideology is Marxism, Leninism, Maoism, Third Worldism. 76, I'm a massive Fallout fan, so I mean, I'm probably gonna like it either way, kind of thing. But if you're gonna play 76, you either have to be dedicated playing it, or it's not gonna be worth your time. Aye, piece of shit. No, actually, that claiming that we're calling fascism anytime working people do something, no, that's an outright lie on your part. Use it when fascists do it. I don't do it every time every time the working class does something. That's something you've literally invented in your own mind. I didn't call people calling for a greater minimum wage fascists. I didn't call the native protesters asking for drinking water, which, by the way, were treated a lot worse than these fucking whiny fascist truck drivers, or pseudo-truck drivers. Call them trucking company owners, not actual drivers. So, no, that thing, oh, you call everything working class does fascist. No, that's something you've completely invented in your own head. The Yellow Vest movement was fascist, particularly in Canada. It was really bad. Kick all non-whites out of the country. We're a working class movement. Breaching clear. Well, I'll tell you what, fellow traveler just messaged me. You want I should do a stream with him instead of video games? Yeah, I'm going to stream with him in a minute. Fucking assholes. Give me that. Oh, okay, fine. Just fuck me in the ass, why don't you? Okay, fellow traveler's gonna come on, and I'm gonna stop the game. And I'm gonna stream with him instead, because he's got something important to say. Oh, shit. There we go. I'm still overweight. You would be fat ass. Squidgeby's liver. Am I still overweight? Yeah. You know what? I don't need that. My character actually cannot eat meat. Interesting thing. I have the herbivore mutation. Which means no meat, any meat that I eat has no effect, but any plants that I eat doubles its effect. Considering that the XP boosters are all plant-based, that's a good thing. Looks like I need water. Somebody's attacking my camp. You little liberator shits. Scrap. All right. still walking around with a lot of extra weight. Looks like I got some. I guess I can put the. Favorite backpack, you know it. Oh, I should put those cranberries in the fucking fridge. Oh, I'm gonna have to cook those fuckers now. Where's my grill? I got a ton of cranberry cobbler now. Yo, yo, yo. Yo, we are live now. Yes. I just went straight to it. Let me just save my game, and then I'll switch to us. Okay, I'm exiting out the game now. Okay, I'm turning my camera. Oh, if I didn't block my camera, that might be a good idea. Upload. Trav 2, and this time it's personal. Okay, let me get this, so the people at home can see us. Window capture. I wonder if you can stream from No, you stream from OBS into Discord, not the other way around. Okay. So then I will set this so Discord. Oh, sorry everybody, I didn't realize a fellow traveler was muted. Sorry.
Oh, I've been muted this whole time?
Yeah, sorry. My fault.
That's probably for the better. There we go. I was just, I'm uploading new video to my second channel. Here we go. Discord server. And I will be ready. There we go. No, it's not made for kids. But anywho, Should I just go on to describe what it's about or what's going on right now?
Yeah, you gonna turn on your camera?
Yeah. What? Let me just. I'm so sorry. This is very very sudden.
Yeah, no worries.
Let me just. Here we go. Thumbnail. This is the. All right. Perfect. All right. There we go. There we go. Now I'm turning on my camera. Share the screen. Turn on camera. Perfect.
Well, Puma, I would say, yeah, who cares about Caleb except that he wields too much influence. And he is doing damage.
Alright. How am I doing? Is my hair looking good? My hair looking good?
Yeah.
No. Okay, cool. Man, fuck it. So, I can't tell if it's my screen mic or my other mic, but we'll see. So, thank you very much, first and foremost, for giving me this platform to voice, explain, and/or complain.
No problem, you got fucked.
Yeah, basically, yeah, I got fucked. So, I mean, that's pretty much what happened. I uploaded a video. I mean, we all did. You, me, S4A, the holy trinity of either third worldists or crypto third worldists. And we were talking about how these trucks, these protests up in Canada, are a total astroturf. It's not really a genuine worker struggle. I mean, I'm sure there are sincere people within it. I won't deny that there probably are some sincere people, but in regards to those protests, a lot of money being pumped into them in a very short period of time by dark money actors and like large individual contributions.
Yes, along those lines, let me add this. Today, a senator in Texas declared that he was going to file a lawsuit against the Canadian government for shutting down the GoFundMe, because a lot of that money came from hard-working Americans. Okay, you're astroturfing. You just admitted it.
Yeah, they're upset that their dark money oligarch influence actually got stopped because of wasn't it over TOS violations? I know for a fact it was over TOS violations.
Yeah.
Because that money can't be used for anything violent, is the claim.
Or illegal.
Or illegal, yeah, violent or illegal. So, I'm not going to say whether or not I know for a fact there was. I mean, maybe there was, maybe there wasn't. I'm willing to give benefit of the doubt and say this was probably a peaceful protest, but
ask the black security guard.
I mean, regardless, I mean, they're just going to say agent provocateurs. That's their excuse for why there are people flying Nazi and fucking southern flags.
Confederate.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah. And all the people using children as human shields across the border bridge, that's also crisis actors. It's not real.
Yeah, agent provocateur. You know, it's just a very easy way to avoid taking responsibility for your group's actions. But
I mean, how is it like that hard to believe that it's a white supremacist fascist thing, when the fucking guy running it is a fucking white supremacist spouting racial conspiracy theories?
Yeah, Wikipedia. If you even go to Wiki, like, you'll find not only a shit ton of conservatives that are backing and supporting. I mean, like, the collective of right-wing media is behind this, for one. You'll also find, like, straight-up white separatist groups, anti-vax groups, QAnon, cultists, Trump supporters, MAGA. Really just right-wing reactionary elements galore are amalgamating behind this shit, behind this protest. And what is it over? It's over the vaccines and masks.
Actually,
they don't want no masks either.
I don't even think that's the case. They want their demand, the list on their website, the things that they're demanding is that Justin Trudeau step down, and that their hand-picked guy be put in place.
No, a coup.
Yeah.
That's basically.
It's a coup.
So then it is a putsch. Never mind. I was about to, say maybe that's an exaggeration, but holy shit, it's a literal putsch.
Yep.
My lord. So, here's what happened. I pointed out that it's a little, basically a fascist putsch, and, well, I got canceled. Right-wingers, in their desperation, could not refute my arguments. They couldn't debunk my arguments. They couldn't address anything I was saying without extreme distortions and bad faith argumentation. I had someone who was bastardizing Marx quotes, saying we have to support the revolutionary workers' struggle wherever it appears. And I'm like, yeah, revolutionary. What these people are doing is the opposite of that. You've got that quote backwards. So
yeah, you know what? I just don't want to go on that one because that one particularly pisses me off. Say we're going to support the workers' struggles where they happen. That's not a worker struggle. Demanding higher wages is a worker struggle. Demanding the liberal prime minister step down in favor of a conservative one, or in favor of one that's basically borderline QAnon, is not a worker struggle. By this kind of twisted fucking logic, when Hitler and the fucking brown shirts were marching on the Bundestag, they should have been lockstep in arms with them because they're working class people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, that's the exact argument I made. Like, okay, well, the Nazis were anti-establishment. I even say that in the video, that the Nazis were also anti-establishment. So, like, are the German communists now Weimar loyalists and Hindenburg, hardcore Hindenburg supporters because they didn't support the German beer hall putsch, Nazi beer hall putsch? So, I made that point in the video, and again, these people couldn't attack my arguments, so they tried to attack me personally, attacking my character.
Oh, they did the same fucking thing to me.
Yeah, they can't go after your arguments, they'll go after your image. And then lastly, what finally happened is I woke up this morning and I found that the video had been flagged, and it had been flagged for inciting violence. That was the claim, that I was inciting violence or advocating for violence within the video. I don't know if you've seen it. I don't know if anyone else has seen it, but
that's a common thing. I've had YouTube do that to me like 3 times on the same video. Like, they literally took it down, said, okay, it's not, put it back up, take it down, agree that it's not, put it back up, and then do it a 3rd time. And then when I got to put it back up the 3rd time, I just deleted the fucking video.
Yeah, so people will do that. It's really, the point that I really want to hammer away home at here is everything the right wing accuses us of doing, literally all of it. All of the behavior from virtue signaling to identity politics to what else? Cancel culture, being a triggered snowflake.
Critical race theory.
Everything, literally everything they accuse the left of, all the horrible behavior, all of the characterizations that they use to describe the left is actually
projection.
Yeah, it's a way more accurate description of their conduct. Because what do you, like, look at these free speech warriors, you know, look what they did to me. They basically canceled me. They flagged my shit, and they basically got my shit taken down. So now I submitted an appeal to YouTube, and I'm waiting, it's pending. But I'm hoping I can get back on my channel sooner. But in the time being, I'm out of commission for the rest of the week until that happens.
I think you're probably going to be okay. I think they'll probably look at the context and see he was actually standing against it, not standing for it. You can't accuse somebody of inciting violence when they're standing against the violence that's happening. I mean, that doesn't make much sense. But then again, you never fucking know with YouTube.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's a chance it might come back up, but in the time being, that's the main point I want to hammer away at right now, is that all these right-wingers have no actual principles. They don't actually believe in any of the things that they claim to. They don't actually care about the things that they do. It's literally just my tribe good, you tribe bad. My person good, you person bad. They can't see past the person or individual. They just see this person has different views than they do, or different ideas or a thought process than they do, and they just see a person that they strongly disagree with, and they project it onto the personality. They can't separate the arguments from the individual, so they try to attack and go after the individual. It's a simple reaction.
Yeah, basically. Which is why they can't see systemic problems.
No.
They can't see how a system creates problems. They can only see how an individual is largely responsible for it. Which is the same reason why they defend a lot of capitalism with conspiracy theory bullshit. That's where a lot of conspiracy theory bullshit comes from. An inability to criticize a system for being fundamentally flawed. It always comes down to some evil outside influence. Oh, it's the liberals. Oh, it's the whatever ethnic group. It's the space reptiles. Because they can't critique a system. They can only blame individuals. And it's always some outside foreign influence that caused it. Oh, it's the communists. It's the nuts. It's the goddamn muzzies. It's the whatever's gonna be next decade.
Yeah,
Critical
no,
race theory, the Antifas.
I even point that out as well. I even make that argument. These people will go through whatever mental jujitsu that they need to, just so they don't have to acknowledge the very clear and obvious, simple reality that it's really just the economic system which gives rise to all of this. It's the way our economy is oriented. And it's so funny to me that they do exactly what you're talking about. They blame individuals, they blame groups, they act like certain things are a moral failing. And it's kind of funny because it's this hyper-individualistic world outlook that I honestly think is responsible for racism. Like, I can actually explain exactly how right-wing ideology produces racism, sexism, white supremacy, and just bigotry in general. I mean, we can go on that tangent if you want.
Well, yeah, that's the system in general. Just because something is opposed to the system doesn't mean it's on the same side as us.
Yeah, so I guess I'll go ahead and go down that rabbit hole. So
Deep dive.
it's always the individual problem. It's always a problem with the individual, with poverty. And poverty is a moral failing. This is all in their mind, their outlook, the way they see it. Poverty is a moral failing. Someone's not bootstrapping their way out hard. Well, as it turns out, you have a large section of the population, and they're all poor as shit. They're not poor as shit because of larger economic forces beyond an individual's control, which have pushed this group or this demographic of people in a position where they're systematically poor or worse off or less well-to-do on average. No, that can't be the case. So it's an individual thing. But people on average within this group are poor. So they basically put the egg before the chicken, in the sense that if it's an individual group problem, then that means something must be wrong with this group as a whole. So you see how racism against black people can emerge, racism against Native Americans, for environmental conditions, no fault of their own. They're able to justify all these bigoted views, and that's how bigoted views can be given rise because of this.
Yeah, you know that saying, poverty isn't like, what is it? Poverty is not a life. It's a mindset or some shit like that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, somebody said to me once, I really wanted to smack them.
Yeah, no, I mean, that kind of feeds into the whole fucking not get rich quick schemes, but they're these self-help groups. You familiar with self-help? It's a wonderful grift.
Oh yeah, Jordan Peterson. Tony, not the Tony, no, the guy with the big fucking teeth, and he's always super happy, and he's always, oh yeah, everybody can be positive, and Joel Osteen for that matter.
Yeah, no, it's straight up. Oh, you just believe something hard enough, it'll happen. That's pretty much what it is. It's the idea that if you believe something hard enough.
Tony Robbins.
Tony Robbins. Right?
Yeah, Benjamin Carmine. He said Tony Robbins. Sorry, go on.
Oh no, that's just about it. I mean, it's the rationale of you can just will the reality you want into existence if you try hard enough. I mean, and it's because it's really just for these reasons that, I mean, it's ideological justification is really all it comes down to. It's ideological justification for conditions as they are now. And honestly, man, at this point, I've talked and confronted enough right-wingers. I mean, the nice thing about right-wingers is that they're kind of overtly brain damaged in this way. They're just sort of overtly brain damaged. With liberals or left liberals, it's just annoying because right-wingers will just flat out say, I'm against equality. I'm against actual, like, equality. Liberals, on the other hand, will say they're in favor of equality, but then they'll, like, fucking, they'll just get in the fucking way and actively enable the right at every single turn.
Vosh. Excuse me. Vosh.
So yeah, pretty much it. But yeah, that's the pretty much the rundown of what happened. So I'm on my second channel right now. Surfing my second channel. Oh, perfecto. My second channel.
Be sure to drop a link for that in the
Yeah.
in the description.
Here.
Not the description of the chat section.
Here, I'm gonna drop it in the chat right now. Give me a second. I have your stream up, so I believe this is a link to my second channel, and then this is a link to my newest video, where I basically give a summary of exactly what I told you.
And then one of the points that I wanted to make was, you know, for there to be a rich, there has to be a poor. That's literally how it works. It's like a tide. If the tide's high somewhere, it's low somewhere else. Well, then whoever is there with the low tide, you know, deserves it because they're just not trying. Well, what you're arguing for is literally impossible. If everybody got together and all was super capitalistic-y and was successful, then nobody would be successful.
Yeah. No,
So it's a literal impossibility what they're calling for. Hey, while you're doing that, can I give a shout out to somebody?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, guys, this is a book called FTW: The Rise of the Anarchy March. This is a post-apocalyptic work of fiction by a guy I know, Russ Lippitt. He is an anarchist. I know anarchists don't try not to be a dick about it. It's a really good book. It's written as a post-apocalyptic scenario where anarchists end up collectivizing society after a post-apocalyptic thing. Just search FTW, The Rise of Anarchy March from leftbrainwritings.com, or you can go on Amazon. I got mine on Amazon. I'm going to do a full review of this book later. But right now, I just wanted to give Russ Lippitt a shout-out in his book because, although I'm not an anarchist and probably nobody else watching this is an anarchist either, it's still a really good book. And any kind of far-left literature that we can get out there, especially even fiction, is a really good thing to have. So I suggest if you do like post-apocalyptic fiction, get out there and buy a copy of this book because it actually is pretty good.
Noted. I'll keep that in mind. And you're totally plugging. I mean, do you know the author? Or
Yeah.
Are you just plugging this because you like the book?
Well, I met him through the book.
Ah, I gotcha. So, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Sorry, I'm editing a community post right now. Sorry, guys, I'm pinging you all again. I'm sure because of the overlap in our audience, I'm sure some of you are on Discord. There we go. All right, enough that. But anywho, yeah, no, counter-hegemony is definitely important. The biggest thing is changing the way people think more than anything else is ultimately what is going to have to happen. But ruling class, or the system is just so good at reproducing like liberal and ruling class psychology at this point that, I mean, whatever we can do on an individual scale is never going to be able to match like the efficiency of a corporation. I mean, it's kind of the catch-22. It comes down to expropriation, but nobody wants to do expropriation because they're scared and because people have too much on the line. So it just goes back into the whole situation of people have too much to lose, and it's only when people have nothing left to lose are they actually going to fight, basically. So,
You got nothing to lose but your chains. Well, I could lose my universal health care. I'm not using that as an excuse, but I'm just saying that's kind of really... I kind of really need that because if I didn't have universal health care, I'd probably be dead right now.
yeah, no. You would join, if you lived in America, you would join the 40,000 people who die due to lack of access to healthcare every single year. Like, America, oh my god. You know, life expectancy fell by almost 2 years since the COVID outbreak in the United States, right?
It's all a conspiracy.
Yeah, isn't there like a statistic where like right-wingers overwhelmingly catch COVID and get sick and die of COVID? Like
Because they're
it's,
not taking it seriously.
yeah, no, I just think it's kind of, I don't really want to say it's poetic justice, but I guess karma.
It's their own fault.
Yeah, basically.
If you don't take the fucking virus seriously and you get sick, that's your own fault. It's no one's fault but your own.
Like, imagine having to wear a surgical mask is such a burden. Like, these people are so plagued by individualism that the very notion of even the slightest, tiniest bit of personal self-sacrifice for the greater good, even if it means wearing a mask in a grocery store or while you're out shopping, that to them is tyranny. The very act of having to wear a mask, even barely slightly inconvenienced.
No, and I fucking remember this when Obama first got elected and he was talking about Obamacare. They were screaming up and down, "Oh, there's going to be death panels that decide whether or not grandma lives and whether or not grandma dies." Like, okay, that's never been a thing ever in any country that I've ever thought of under any healthcare system. I really don't think that's ever been a thing. But I mean, if you're so concerned about some bureaucracy trying to decide whether grandma lives or die, maybe you could stop trying to kill her right now.
Yeah, that's literally capitalism. The reason why people don't get health care in single-payer countries is, I mean, in many instances, it's actually because they still have private health care that's fleecing them, as in, like, the case of Finland, or what they're doing in Europe now is they're giving you the shitty public option where you can have quality private service. They just slowly gut it and cut corners whenever they can, and that's the real reason why single-payer, or, yeah, why state-funded led healthcare would be worse, is literally just because it's underfunded and they don't give it enough resources. And it's kind of a catch-22, which feeds into the right-wing narrative that we need to gut it more because look how inefficient it is. The private sector does it better. I mean,
That's such bullshit. Think about bureaucracy. Have you seen the billing department in a U.S. hospital?
Yeah.
It's like a whole fucking floor.
They charge you $10 for a hug.
Yeah, it's like a whole floor of the hospital is the billing section. I worked in the Canadian healthcare system doing security in the Niagara region. The billing department for the whole Niagara region, one room, 4 people.
That's insane.
And they talk about bureaucracy.
You could cut down considerably on bureaucracy by getting rid of it, because then you wouldn't have private companies that are trying to use every legal loophole humanly possible to avoid giving people health care or to cut corners and cut costs as much as humanly possible. So the only times single payer is shit, and when right-wingers have a point, is usually when it's underfunded or when there's a genuine scarcity of a specific procedure or, like organs. That's like the only instances where there's like genuinely like scarcity. It's because there's literal scarcity. But
usually supply shocks.
Yeah, with private healthcare, it's just artificial price market scarcity. And it actually fights for scarcity and wants some degree of scarcity because you create economic pressure, to fleece the ever-living fuck out of sick and dying people. So, I mean, there's really no argument. Even liberals at this point basically agree that a single-payer system is better. They just don't want to take this rationale to its logical conclusion.
And the really interesting thing about universal health care is that basically even almost every mainstream economist will agree that a universal health care system is more efficient.
Oh, yeah.
It's not profitable. They'll say, yeah, it's not profitable. You're not going to make money off of it, but it is more efficient. It does lead to better health in general. But,
I will never forget that one study. It's a study that I like to cite. It's a UN study. It goes industry by industry. And if you go by, like, all the major industries on Earth, like the most profitable ones, and you make them account for environmental costs that they externalize onto the public and environment, that that if you were to basically make them pay for the ecological damage that they do, that no industry on Earth would be profitable. Like none of them would be profitable. So it would actually, for green capitalism to work, it basically wouldn't, because you'd be bankrupting like every industry on the planet. Because what needs to be done that's sustainable is like the exact reverse opposite of what capitalism needs to function, i.e. consumption, endless turnover. So, I don't know. On another note, what else do you know about these protests? Seeing as that you're from Viagra Falls, you're from Canada. What else?
Anybody who anybody who ever said Niagara Falls is for lovers was obviously never on the U.S. side and never went outside the tourist area on our side.
Yeah, I knew that. I knew that'd get a laugh out of you.
Because, dude, I've worked the, like I said, I worked in the Niagara health system, yeah, especially in Niagara Falls, outside of the tourist area, and you roll up at 11 o'clock at night, and there's a meth head smacking his head against the fucking curb, he's smacking his own head against the fucking curb. Step outside the tourist area, and you'll see some shit.
Yeah, no, in general, you will see some shit. I mean, it depends on where you go. There's pockets of it, but there's a lot of poverty in the United States as well.
You want to know? You want to hear a good one? A good joke?
What's up?
I mean, it's a joke, but it's also true. Niagara Falls, on the U.S. side, because the population in Niagara Falls, New York, is like 95% black. The unofficial name is N-word Falls.
Nah. Oof.
That's them calling it themselves. Okay, so again, don't blame me for that.
That's fucked up. But yeah, like, what else do you know about these trucker protests? I know that, I mean, shit, you were bitching about Caleb Hoffman a minute ago. May as well go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, the Prime Minister today invoked the Emergency Measures Act for the first time ever to deal with the truckers.
I mean, what exactly does that entail?
It's like a bunch of executive emergency measures that aren't legal during regular time, what have you. It's hard to say because we've never actually used it before. Never had to. Even during the FLQ crisis, we didn't use it.
Yeah. When it comes to these protesters, honestly, if I were in Trudeau's shoes, I just wouldn't give into the pressure. Just don't give into the demand. Don't give into the pressure.
You're just gonna make them bolder.
I mean, don't give in the demand or pressure. I mean, honestly, I would take it a step further than that. I'd call the National Guard and tell them all to go home if I were in Trudeau's shoes. Just call the National Guard. Do what America routinely does to peaceful protesters within its own borders. Just fucking spray with water hoses.
Yeah, do what you did with the fucking pipeline protesters.
Yeah, tear gas, water hoses, rubber bullets, the whole 9 miles. Do exactly to your average BLM, center-left, reformist, or milquetoast, peaceful protests. Just do that to them. But then again, if you do that, you're going to feed into their victim complex, and they're just going to whine and cry and be like, "Oh, woe is me. See, we really are anti-establishments. Checkmate, commies. You're the ones who are pro-establishment." So,
you know what? I fucking bet you anything that the people there on the goddamn trucker thing right now were begging the RCMP to go and beat up native protesters asking for clean water. I can almost guarantee you.
Probably, yeah, because they're fucking subhuman. There's not really much else to say besides it.
I mean, literally clean fucking water. I mean, that's about as basic as it can get. Clean water to drink. I mean, you can't, there's nothing, the only thing more basic than that would be literally don't shoot me.
I think the biggest thing that pisses me off about all of this is that we've got inflation, unemployment, homelessness, environmental degradation, inequality, drug abuse, all these social ills, we've got all these problems, we've got the pandemic, we have dozens, just take your pick, dozens of issues that are worth tackling and worth going after right now and having protests over. And these people choose, and they're choosing vaccine mandates. They're choosing having to get a booster shot, having to get a little flu shot. That's what people choose. Of all the things to be protesting over right now, it's fucking sad. I mean, I know it's not just people in general. It's really just the ruling class trying to divert and create a distraction from the real class struggle that's going on in like Puerto Rico or any of the strikes that are going on, because there is class struggle that is transpiring. But what this is just one big spectacle, I feel. At best, it's a spectacle, and at worst, it's a literal fascist putsch.
I think there's so much good, like the Keystone Pipeline thing was so fundamental, and even like the Keystone Pipeline protest, you would have to be a real cold-hearted bastard not to be supporting the protests. You really, really have to be. You have to be a really bad person. But that was like nothing to them. It didn't matter. You're right. There's so much bigger issues. How about we don't go to war against Russia?
No, I know, right? I'll never get over that, dude. When I saw that clip where Bosch was just saying, "Oh, we have no choice.
Fuck.
We need to starve them out. Let's just starve them out." You should watch this debate with President Sunday, dude. I was planning on doing a live reaction to that tomorrow on my second channel.
Oh.
I've listened in and tuned into some of the debate, and oh my god, it's horrible. It's just so bad. Like, equating fucking apartheid South Africa with the Holocaust. Like, South African freeing themselves from apartheid. It's incredible to me. And this day and age is just so it's ridiculous. The degree of religious fanaticism and tribalism that I see. Just people just don't know how to think. They don't know how to think for themselves. They'd rather be told what to think by people that they like the sound, the voice of, and they like the faces of, basically. I mean, so in that regard, if there's one reform that I think we should struggle for, it's to get philosophy in high school. There should be a full curriculum where they just teach philosophy.
Yeah, I think I made that argument a long time ago.
Yeah.
For the longest time, I didn't know anything about philosophy. Like, I thought it was just, yeah, okay, it's like this rich person thing that somebody learns, and then I learned some of it, and I was like, oh shit, I should have known this the whole time.
Oh,
It actually is important. Like, I thought it was like one of those things that, okay, math is more important, or, you know, English is more important, but no, actually, it is fucking important. I was totally wrong about that.
Well, the reason why I say it is because philosophy is a topic that teaches you how to think. It makes you better at thinking and asking questions and probing. It's the thought of thought. It is the discourse on discourse, in a sense. So the reason why I say that is because if people were taught to think critically or deeper about things and think more for themselves or ask more questions, if people had that pre-programmed into them at an earlier age, I'm not going to say you can completely eliminate and remove right-wing ideology, like conservative and just rightist ideology, from the psyche of your average person. You could never truly stamp it out, but you could curb. I'm telling you, you could curb the ever-living fuck out of it if basic philosophy was taught in high school. Like you could massively curb the number of right-wingers in the world if you did that.
Capitalism doesn't want you to be educated. Yeah, that's what drives me nuts about how a lot of conservatives were like, oh, they just want people to be stupid so they can control them. Like, you mean when countries with universal education systems, where like a fucking PhD was free to go and get, that was trying to make people stupid by offering free education? Like, what the fuck? You're the one who wants people to be fucking stupid. You want a private education system that's going to give disproportionate resources to the wealthy. That's keeping people stupid.
They want people to be smart enough to run and use the machines and tools and to do what they need to do in order to make their bosses money. That's how smart they need the people. They need people to be smart enough to perform these functions, but they also need people to not ask too many questions, not think too deep about things, and just to accept like the establishment narrative and hegemony about subjects without probing any deeper into it. And it also doesn't help that like enough people that there's been enough basically bribery and distractions more than anything else just to keep people in line and complicit in the system. I mean, this kind of reminds me of I forget what it was, but over in Israel, a shit ton of people started protesting because they weren't able to get cheese or whatever. I forget what it was. It was like ice cream or cheese. They were short on a good, and you had a bunch of Israelis protesting it. It's crazy. Like if people wanted settler colonialism and apartheid to end in Israel, if the Israeli people wanted it, they could bring it to an end like in a huff. Same goes for the United States. If we wanted to end apartheid, settler colonialism, and imperialism, we could do it in a huff. We could abandon our military. We could institute all these like sweeping systematic changes. It's just mustering the political will to do it is really
I didn't remember the protest you were talking about, so I just quickly Googled it. Yeah, you're right. There was more outrage at there being a lack of motherfucking cheese than the lives of Palestinians.
Yeah,
I mean, I love cheese just as much as the next white person, but holy shit, it's not more important than Palestinian lives.
Yeah, but that just goes to show people would rather protest vaccine mandates than they would protesting the ill treatments of indigenous people. They would rather protest lockdowns than protest lack of health care.
Fuck, you know what this reminds me of? This was like on the tip of my tongue and I couldn't remember what it was. It's like that Dead Kennedys album, Give Me Convenience or Give Me Death.
That is a terrifyingly accurate description.
Fuck, I knew it. I was trying to remember where I heard that from, but yeah, it's a Dead Kennedys album. Give me convenience or give me death.
So, what you and I do, we provide an alternative in terms of our media and our content, which is good. The issue is like, not only do our platforms are tiny, the algorithm doesn't like the kind of content that we make. The algorithm does not like us. It doesn't like you. It doesn't like us.
I'm used to not being liked.
Yeah. So there are some channels that are able to break through and get some establishments, or I say establishment, but they're just really just more mainstream. Like Hakeem, Ugopnik, and Second Thought are pretty much like the trinity of mainstream Marxist-Leninists at this point. They're pretty much like the big three high honchos on YouTube. And it's good because they've got establishments now. They bring in ad revenue with their contents while making anti-capitalist content. The next step beyond this is really just orchestrating things outside in the real world, more than anything else. Like getting enough people in enough places on board with going out and just putting pressure on the government for systemic change. Like I say it again and again. If we wanted to, like, if we got enough people in on it globally, we could end capitalism pretty fucking quickly. If we wanted to. That is, if enough people were conscious enough and aware. Because all it takes is us just not showing up to work, us not doing things the way they want them to. That's literally all it takes. And the system falls apart. Like, really, capitalism is a lot more frail than people think. It's propped up by ideology and gas station conveniences at this point. Like, it'll get you your chips, your Cheetos, and your wine, and the next season of your favorite TV show, but it can't get you healthcare or affordable housing. So
yeah, but I need like 5 different kinds of Twinkie.
Yeah. So okay, I can't afford housing. My job pays shit.
You want to hear something fucking crazy?
What's up?
1 liter of Coke at the gas station near my house.
A liter of cola?
Yeah, almost $5.
Yep.
But I go across the road to the convenience store, and it's like $2.80.
Well, yeah, I mean, gas stations make their money by marking up the conveniences or the goods that they bring in. You're paying for the convenience is the general idea. Like, I go to a gas station, I see a goddamn banana on display, and it's $1 for that fucking banana. But then I can go down to the grocery store and I can buy like a whole pound of bananas, which is like 7 or 8 bananas for like that same dollar, basically.
Yeah, like I said, I work at a gas station, and I see the fucking manager. I see the guy who fucking owns the place come in with like these baskets full of like fucking shit he just bought at like No Frills or something. That's a discount Canadian grocery chain, and he just puts it right in the cooler, and then says, "Okay, here, 3 times the price."
Oh yeah,
and it works. About the only good one, and I will remember this for the rest of my life because it was so fucking great. Energy drinks have an expiry date.
I did not know that.
Or a best before date or whatever.
I didn't know.
It's still good. Like, you could still drink it. It just won't taste as good because it's like it's past its prime or whatever. I was working there in 2012 when on New Year's Day, every single fucking can of Monster was had to be taken off the shelf. And it was like cases and cases and cases of this shit. And the manager literally just said, "Okay, look, just take a case home." So I literally walked out at like 7 o'clock in the morning when my shift was over with the 2 cases, like milk crates filled with fucking Monster energy drink for free.
Yeah, that's kind of testimony. I mean, I feel like we're preaching to the choir here.
Yeah.
I feel like we're kind of preaching to the choir here, but I mean...
we have to preach to somebody.
Yeah, no, I mean, pretty much, I'm willing to presume that everybody watching this live stream are pretty regular viewers.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we all know how capitalism, in capitalist logic, it makes more sense to throw out apples that are the wrong color into a landfill than it does to sell them, because people only want to buy apples that are the right color or the right matching color, because apples aren't always the red or green, the deep red or bright green. Sometimes it's not quite green enough, it's the wrong color. Sometimes you got a blue apple. Ooh, that's an ugly apple, but there's nothing wrong with it. Well,
I'd like to eat a blue apple.
Yeah, but you've got dumpsters full of perfectly good food being guarded by cops.
What was that that statistic? Like half of like almost all food in like Canada, the US, and the UK are thrown away because of consumer pickiness.
Oh yeah, no, spoiled Americans, spoiled Canadians, first worlders that are taught and conditioned from a very early age that if food doesn't look a certain way, then it's not good for eating. Like, I tell you what, man, I've got family, I've got people in my that I know in real life that will toss a banana just because it's a little bruised. Like, I know this person, and I see, like, we go grocery shopping together, and I see this, there's banana, bruised banana, and they're gonna throw it out. I'm like, really? The banana's fine. It's just a bruise, and they're telling me, oh no, I don't like it. I'm like, cause it's the wrong color. The banana's fine. No, people are basically taught to use and lose. It's like yet another testimony of capitalist psychology. Nothing is preserved. Nothing is sustained. People aren't taught to like to be skilled or self-sufficient on any capacity, and like, I'm gonna use this and lose it. People think like once this cup breaks, like I got a cup right here. The cup breaks, it goes into the trash. It ceases to exist. It returns from the ether beyond the shelves from whence it came. No, all those broken all those broken cups end up in a landfill with the rest of the obsolete shit that should have never been made in the first place.
Okay, I don't want to be that guy, that weeb guy, but Japan literally has a whole art of restoring ceramic and porcelain using gold, and like they have a word for it, like repaired beauty or something like that, where you literally take gold to repair broken pottery and shit like that to reuse it.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because libs love to furiously jack off Japan. They furiously jack off Japan. Like, you point the Soviet Union did all these economic miracles, like, well, the Japanese did it better.
No, they didn't.
No, they always point to Japan, like, see, Japan achieved faster growth rates than the Soviets. I'm like, okay, one country out of 200 on the planet outperformed the world's.
Which you
So,
were funding, by the way.
yeah, no. USSR was being sanctioned, embargoed, and had to build everything up from nothing. Japan was like actively aided in their economic recovery, and due to a booming textile market, they were able to surge and grow and modernize very quickly. But regardless, libs will go to Japan, and whenever you point out the unsustainability of capitalism, they'll say, "Well, look at Japan; they're super sustainable. They
Japan's super
separate their
sustainable.
garbage."
Okay, let me ask you something. Have you ever seen Japan's national debt?
That is a different. We can get to that in a second. But
Okay.
my point is, they'll be like, "Well, in Japan they separate and recycle their stuff." I'm like, "Yeah, because they don't have a choice. Japan is a tiny island with a population of 100 million people. They have to pay. They have to pay to ship out their garbage. So they, by necessity, are forced to recycle everything. Japan's the exception, not the rule. Liberals will like isolate these little pockets, these little exceptions to a general rule, like outliers, and they'll turn to the outlier to disprove the argument that you're trying to make, that the general rule is capitalism is unsustainable." So what were you saying about Japan's national debt?
Yeah, they're saying Japan's national debt. If you look at countries with the biggest national debt, believe it or not, the U.S. isn't even in the top in terms of percentage of the GDP. In terms of overall numbers, yeah, it's probably the biggest in the world. But Japan's national debt is 257% of its GDP. I don't know how that continues to be sustainable.
Oh, I'll tell you how it is. It's called the money printer.
Yeah, I know, but sooner that's not going to work forever.
Well, they've been doing it for a while. Japan has been printing away. What's the name of the Japanese currency? It's not the won. It's
Yen.
No, you've got the Chinese yuan, but basically their currency is super devalued. If you go to buy a computer in
RMB.
Japan, it's like $40,000 for like a computer.
Wait. Are you talking about the money in China or the money in Japan?
No, Japan.
Yeah, it's the yen.
Yeah, the yen. Thank you. Not the won, but the yen. Japan's economy is super inflated. They have an aging population with the reproduction rates of their population well below what they need in order to sustain it. So you've got an aging population with fewer and fewer young people to take care of that aging population. Fewer and fewer young people that are having less and less kids because women are entering the workforce, are super focused on their careers. The Japanese are workaholics. It's just so weird to me. People will point to Japan like it's this pinnacle of civilization, and there's a lot of good things about Japan. But people are working insane hours there. People work an average of 50 to 60 hours a week in Japan, and they're not allowed to have a life. Their work and their life are one. Their lives are centered around their work, and I'm like, is this really like what we should be striving for? Are these people really happy living as they do? Like, because when I look at the culture and when I look at like the forms of escapism, it's all centered around high school. Like, if you ever read any manga, lots of mangas are centered around high school. And why is it centered around high school? It's because it's escape. It's because when you were in high school, it was like the one moments in your life where you're not working every waking goddamn moments of your life. It's where you actually had time to have friends and have leisure. You know what I'm saying? So
why you have the prevalence of hikikomori.
I feel so dumb. I don't know what that is.
Okay, it's like being an adult who lives at home and just plays video games and reads and watches anime all the time.
The grass eatings.
Yeah, the ones that just have given up on life.
Yeah, the grass.
And for a lot of people, like fuck, society is so fucking alienating that's gonna happen. If you make a society where like there is like nothing worth going out for, then that's gonna happen. They have like fucking female otakus in Japan that say, I would like to have a boyfriend, but my manga comes first. Or guys saying, I like 2D women better than 3D women. If you, in terms of romantic attachment, prefer a piece of fiction to a real person. That's alienation.
Oh yeah,
That's a real fucking problem.
that is a colossal problem because, I mean, so it just goes to show like the fabric of their society and culture is like slowly unraveling, and it's a real genuine concern. Like, I mean, capitalism, Japan, from a purely economic standpoint, Japan has done very well for itself. It is, for all intents and purposes, an economic miracle. You go back in time 80 years, they were still feudal, basically. Like, really, World War II pretty much marked the end of feudalism, because Japan was like one of the last great feudal, like, empires, more or less. But, anywho, my point is, they've done very well for themselves in a very short period of time, but they are in for some really, really bad crises in the next couple of decades, like, based on the trends that are transpiring. I mean, no society is perfect, no country is perfect, and that's not my point. My point is that we see, like, the symptoms of capitalism manifesting in not really bizarre ways, but much more intense certain aspects as a reflection of Japanese culture and conditions, like the alienation.
Less of a quantitative and more of a qualitative change.
Yeah, exactly. We see alienation, we see inequality, we see this cutthroat, hyper-competitive culture where if you don't get straight A's, if you get a single B, shame upon you by your ancestors. If you don't show up to work on time, if you take more than 3 days off, paid days off per year out of the 10 you get, shame upon you and your ancestors. Like, it's a culture where there is a lot of pressure on the individual to perform. There's a lot of pressure on the individual to perform, and there's a lot of
not even perform, to hyper excel.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and it's not all like that. There's also a very social, like a social aspect of it as well, as in you're part of a group and you're all working together to achieve a goal. Like, there is a sense of camaraderie at a lot of these workplaces in Japan where
play
like,
the company loyalty song.
Yeah, exactly. I guess my point is like that. Like, even if they're a very wealthy country, even if they're the wealthiest country on earth, that life expectancy is in the 90s, but then that just means you get to spend 90 years in alienating capitalist realist hell instead of 70 years in hyper alienating capitalist realist hell. So, I mean, no matter how wealthy or how rich we get, no matter no matter how much wealth is produced, there's always going to be poverty, alienation, unsustainability, and social pathology that's just pandemic. It's endemic to capitalism. Unless you treat the root cause, it's never going to go away. Like, no matter how much wealth capitalism generates, no matter how much quote-unquote poverty reduction capitalism doesn't do fucking poverty reduction. The end of imperialism, colonialism, are what have been driving poverty reduction. You realize, like, within the last century, a fucking billion people, like, most of the major poverty reduction that has been done since after World War II has transpired under command economies. Like Russia, China, Vietnam, North Korea, Cuba, Nicaragua, Eastern Europe, Libya. Pick your poison, take your pick. It's been the socialist countries or the social democratic countries with strong unions and strong trade laws. Those are the countries that have escaped poverty. They've either been socialist or they have been hardcore, like, heavily regulated state capitalism, or they've been social democracies with extremely nationalistic leadership that's concerned about protecting the interests of its own citizenry. So, none of which, by the way, are the same economic models or policies that are advocated by, standard basic bitch mainstream libs.
No, you're right. Totally.
Yeah, I'm preaching to the choir.
Yeah. One of the things that always drove me nuts was like that it's a competition. You have to go out there and you're competing for jobs. And it's like, you know what? No matter what the job it is, I stock a fucking shelf and work a cash register. Why do I have to fight somebody for that fucking job? Bitch, I don't even want it. I mean, it's not like a high power position or nothing. It's just simple, basic minimum wage butt fuck. It's nothing. It's just
yeah, no. So that kind of brings me to the whole third worldism, because I do want to talk about third worldism. I know it's a bit of a meme, and I mean, it is a meme to some people, but I mean, when you really get down to it, honestly, man, I think the real reason why you have been given as much flack as you've had, you've been canceled, and you've been like...
Yeah, I've been canceled like 10 times.
Yeah, why there's such a stigma around you, or why people have negative perceptions of you. I mean, the contents of your message itself, it's really just truth. It's like objective truth is all you present. Honestly, I think your presentation, image does matter, and I think your presentation is part of what hurts your message. I think it's really just character. People are turned off by certain like image, like optics related shit, but otherwise, the contents that you put out there and the message itself is good. Like it's the same problem I have. Shit presentation, but good message. It's something that I acknowledge and that I'm working.
I'm gonna say this, and I really don't want to sound like a dick for saying this.
Go ahead.
I don't want to sound like an arrogant ass, but I really think that I'm one of the realest motherfuckers out there.
Yeah, you are.
Because I'm sorry, but anybody who's ever, again, I don't want to sound like a dick, but anybody who's ever like talked to me behind the scenes, I'm exactly the same person as I am here.
Yeah. I mean, that's really all it is. Realist motherfucker. I mean,
I know you're a real guy too.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Jason, this is just a little struggle session moment, and just these are the only real criticisms I honestly have, and you
hit me with your best shot.
Yeah, you can throw criticisms back at me if you want, but
I ain't afraid of criticism. Hit me with the best shot.
My only real criticisms of you are really your presentation. It's presentation and more than anything else. Like, and I don't even mean the way that you convey the message. I mean, appearances are one thing. People, if you aren't like a conventionally attractive person, or you don't have like a very commanding, charismatic voice, then people aren't going to be as drawn in. Other things, I mean, you got a mohawk. You
best not be talking about shit. You best not be talking shit about my hair, boy.
No, I like the mohawk. Really, I mean, the aesthetic, I think, is one thing that puts people off. Another thing is, I mean, it's really just some of your conduct in the past. Like,
okay, I know where this is going.
But yeah, I'm sorry to bring it up. I'm talking about.
Okay, but like, yeah, I know where you're going.
Yeah, no, all right, fine. All I'm saying is you're an edgelord, and that you've got some history and some baggage with that.
No, wait, an edgelord is someone who does it just to be edgy. Fuck you, man. I do it because I legitimately think it's funny. Now, saying that I shouldn't do it, okay, I would agree with you.
Yeah,
but I would preface that by saying I'm not trying to be edgy. I legitimately find it funny. I'll show you off camera the Valentines that I was sending to my girl. They were 9/11 Valentines.
Oh, yeah. So,
she was laughing. I was laughing.
Yeah, no. I mean, this is really just personality-related shit.
Yeah, okay. I know that I can come off as when you start shitting on me enough, and I start getting angry, and then I start being belligerent, and then stuff like that comes out.
Oh, I've got another good criticism.
Okay, but you are right on that one.
Presentation. Sorry, I'm rolling my shoulders. That's a significant one. Another one, and I know you don't necessarily mean to do this, but you're always trying to get content on your channel every day, which I appreciate.
It is hard to do, I'll admit.
Yeah, it's hard to do, and I appreciate that, but you got to be careful because if you got to make sure you have all your information available, or all the facts available before you present whatever it is you plan on presenting. Because I mean, I can't think of any good examples of when you've done this, but if you put something out there, like talking about a subject, but you don't have all the information, but then you talk about as you come off as kind of an authority on it, and you present this information from your perspective, without factoring in all the variables, someone can come in with information that you haven't considered that might change your view or might contradict or prove you wrong. And I'm not saying you won't amend your view and you won't correct yourself when you're wrong, but in terms of like just presentability and professionalism, you should do the best you can to make sure that you have all of the facts that you need and considering all the variables from all angles.
And that can be difficult when you're rushing to get stuff out.
Yeah, no, and I follow
fair enough.
Yeah,
I'm only one man. I'm not a research team.
Yeah, of course. You're only one guy. You're uploading every single day, and it's not like you make $20,000 a month on Patreon. You're not a famous video essayist who uploads once every 175 years with a following of thirsty simps, basically.
Yeah, I mean, no names. But yeah, it's not like I upload one video a month and have like $10,000 in my Patreon. Dude, I got less than $300 in my Patreon.
Yeah, and the contents of your videos, it's an hour and a half of you under neon lights wearing different outfits, taking forever to get to the goddamn point, but I digress. No, I appreciate that you upload frequently. I just think you should consider improving presentation the best that you can. If you want to make edgy jokes or you want to, like, that's fine. I would just minimize the extent that gets put out there, like, because certain things can hurt your image. And unfortunately, I hate to say it, but if you want to be a big YouTuber, you have to protect your image. Like,
I would agree with you, but then I look at Bosch. I don't know what the fuck he's doing to protect his image, because he's fucking up a lot.
Oh no, he is lately, but he's already fostered the cult. That's the thing. He's already fostered the cult, and he contradicts himself so much, and he throws so much shit out there for several hours at a time, and he does what he does to appeal to the lowest common denominator, and he brings in the ad revenue that he does to such an extent to where he's basically invincible. You have to get to where you have tens, hundreds, millions of people behind you before you can basically contradict yourself all the time and, you know, be like Donald Trump, where what you say doesn't matter. You just tell people what they want to hear, and because it's you're reaffirming their dumbass opinions, their uninformed opinions, so they're going to lend you that support, and they're going to be super, 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 super charitable whenever you say something fucked up. But then whenever the tiny streamer, the tiny YouTuber makes even the tiniest, slightest little mistake, the tiniest, slightest little fuck up, all of a sudden they're just wrong. They're just automatically wrong. After all, you have fewer followers, therefore you're wrong. People think like this, dude. I'm not fucking kidding.
No, I know. No, I know. I've been the victim of that.
Yeah. So
and I just thought if I was gonna address something Sean said.
No, go ahead.
Caleb Muppet said just wear a suit. I was wearing a suit before he did.
No, yeah, no.
Sorry, man. I, you know what? Dress for six, but I dress real. You know, I wear this. I wear this shit out in public. I don't give a fuck.
Dress for six. That's what you sounded like you said.
Yeah. Like I said, I wear this out in public. You know, straight up. I do not give a fuck. I added this right here. I added this anarchy logo specifically in support of the anarchists in Arizona. Like I say, I'm not a suit and tie guy all the time. I understand professionalism. I don't go on Press TV with a mohawk and start screaming obscenities, although that would be pretty funny.
Oh yeah, it would. Like, absolutely. In terms of dressing, I dress in clothes that are comfy for me. I just dress however I want to dress, but I do agree with Caleb on one thing. that you should dress like a professional. Like, if you're serious about being like a political figure or influencer, and you're someone who wants to go out in the world and be the face of an ideology or a cause or a movement, you should present yourself in the best light possible, because in a way, you're like a representative of that movement, and so your conduct as an individual does matter. So I think Caleb does have a point. In terms of
course, yeah, he does have a point there, of course.
Yeah, no, where Caleb goes wrong with it is in the black and white dogmatic us versus them tribalistic cult-like mindset that he constantly fosters within his own environment. Like he's got the biggest victim complex. Like, he just accuses anybody he doesn't like of being a Fed, and he says, like, oh, you're either pro-socialist billionaires or you want everyone to be poor. You're either there's another good example. I'm looking for this post on his Twitter, but he said that, oh, well, the truckers are anti-communists, so are the DSA and all these other people. So because the DSA aren't hardcore tankies, because BLM aren't hardcore tankies, that means that we should support the right-wing, far-right AstroTurf. I'm like, no, that does not compute at all. These two, like, you're trying to draw a line and a parallel. Like, dude, working with the DSA, BLM, like SOCDEMs and moderate reformers is one thing. Like, that's one thing, and it can be done. Hell, you can even work with apolitical people, and you can work with people of a rightist disposition on certain individual issues, to an extent.
Yeah, but like if there was a general strike for higher wages,
yeah,
that
exactly.
would easily support that.
So let's say a bunch of I don't know, Trump supporters came out, and all these Trump supporters came out, and they turned out to help protest to end a war, or anti-imperialism, or higher wages, healthcare. If they turned out, I mean, and there's like 100 of them, 1,000 of them turning out to a protest, I'm not going to turn them away just because they're Trump supporters. But on the other hand, I'm also going to be very weary, like, about having these people around, because if they're Trump supporters, it's because they're right-wing, or they're far-right. And the thing is if these people are genuine, if they really care and want to make the world a better place, within a couple months, 3 to 6 months of working with you and your coalition, many of them will cease to be Trump supporters.
You know what? Perfect story. I have seen members of the PSFM, Popular Socialist.
Yeah.
I forget the name. I've seen them like get into like actual debates, like struggle sessions in real life with like guys who were still teabaggers. I thought that was dead, but apparently there's still teabaggers around. And at the end, they were like, "Okay, you know what? You were right." And they went over and joined the Socialist Party. I don't know how the fuck they did that.
Yeah.
Because I've never I don't think I've ever managed to do that, but they did it.
Yeah.
They were better debaters than I am.
In my experience, when it comes to the right wing, many people who proclaim and profess to be right wing are not going to remain in right wing for that long if they are genuine and they care enough to, if they really care. They might stay right wing, but I'm just saying that you will eventually influence these people for the better if they want to. If they want to change and they want to do better and they really genuinely care. I mean, of course it's going to take time, because people will get emotional attachments to their positions and views. People don't just automatically change their ideas at a time. It takes time, but given enough time, right-wingers can eventually become left-wingers. But it's difficult because you're starting from a position of... Here's a good analogy for it. I'll use diet and exercise, right? Let's say you're a weightlifter. You're building your muscles, you're lifting weights, you're getting big and strong. Yeah, you're this Chad weightlifter, right? You're a Chad communist. You're a communist. The communists are like the weightlifters, all right? And the right-winger is like the morbidly obese dude in the room who's never touched a set of dumbbells in his life. 300 pounds, 350, 400 pounds, right? So you've got him, the right winger, and then you've got the liberal. You've got someone who's like a moderate, who's just like a skinny person who doesn't work out. So obviously, the person who's skinny is going to be able to get to the super fit athletic position easier than someone who's starting from morbidly obese. So the person who's obese is going to have to willingly work and move with deliberate effort to want to change themselves and change their ways. And they're going to have to put more work in to reprogram themselves as a result. And that's how I see things. Struggle. Yeah, when it comes to the right wing, right wingers are going to have to go through more work, and they're going to have to move with much greater deliberation to be willing to have their minds change and willing to self-improve. So I will never turn away someone who is a recovering racist or a recovering Nazi. I will be wary of them, and I will keep an eye on them, because I'm not going to let this person with reactionary baggage chase off my LGBT comrades, my female comrades, my black and brown and indigenous comrades. I will never do that. But I will welcome them with open arms so long as they're willing to improve and make something better of themselves. I'm just going to be weary of that person, because they're going to some extent be stamped with the birthmarks of their old ideological ways, and at the same time, they're going to probably, many of them also have a propensity to want to do this like red-brown bullshit, where they'll want to like stay socially conservative or like right-wing on social and political issues, but then like left-wing on economic issues. So like this, so the pseudo-fascism that they're kind of in favor of. But you got to work with those people to bring them further to the correct line. You don't just tolerate, I want socialism, but fuck the black. You know what I'm saying?
I want equality, just not black people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so somebody wants to join us. How do I send a link to that?
Okay, so you actually have to invite them into the Discord call. So
okay,
you should be able to just call them.
Okay, but they're not on my DMs.
Oh, well then they're going to have to get on Discord, friend request you, and or get in a server with you, and then you call them. That's how it's going to have to work.
Okay, I guess I got to drop my Discord contact in the chat. Which,
yeah.
I'm going to get fucking spammed.
Just drop it, but then delete it as soon as the person is hooked up with you on Discord.
Yeah, like, and I think another problem is there's a lot of fucking egos.
Yeah.
Mad fucking egos in the thing. Oh, he's already got me on his thing.
Wait, I think I see who it is. Is it Jake? I think it's Jake.
No, wait, it wasn't Jake. It was Gengeros?
Oh, Gengeros? Oh, yeah, I know who this guy is.
Yeah, exactly is he safe?
Oh, no, he's safe. I know him. He's legit. Let me see if I can, actually, I'm sorry, guys. How do you add someone to Discord live stream? How to add someone to Discord live stream?
Yeah, that's, you'd think I'd know how to do that, but I don't.
Wait, no, that might.
Oh, there it is. Add friends to DM. No. Motherfucker, I think this would be easier than it is.
So you're streaming from your Discord, right? And you just had to call me, right?
Yeah. Wait a minute.
So here's an idea. So I'm going to go ahead and welcome this person, and I'm going to create a three-way call. I have a great idea. So,
yeah, Jake wants in too, so...
I prefer that we not. I mean, it's nothing personal, Jake. It's just... I don't know. Jake is a very intense person who has a lot to say, and I feel like I'm not going to have an opportunity to have a straight conversation with you and the other person if Jake is invited into the call. It is nothing personal. It's just, I mean, yeah, pretty much that. Sorry, Jake. Here, I'm gonna go ahead and, let's see, maybe I can just start a voice call. How do I create a, new search, start voice call, start video call, add friends with DM. Shit. I'm sorry, guys. Alright. How to start three-way, DM Discord. Here we go. Simply take the names of the people you want to add and search for them in the text box. Oh, okay. So, I'm gonna go ahead and add, no. Fight, okay, here we go. Again, here's how I'm gonna do this. Jason, no, how do I do you? Jason, how do I create? So I think it's at Jason Unruhe. No. Sorry guys, I'm a moron when it comes to technology. At Jason Unruhe.
Yeah, I'm not even sure how to do it.
No, I mean I've done it before, I just don't remember. Simply take the names of the people you want to add or search for them to hold on. Simply tick. Let me see here. I know we can get this going. I deeply apologize for this. Pinned inbox.
Yeah, I know that I've done this before too.
Yeah. Close DM, add DM, mark as read, invite server, user settings, no. So it says to either search for people, and I can add them that way. Why are you doing this? I am sorry, guys. Three-way call.
This isn't making sense. There should be there's an add to call button.
You click the call.
I don't see it. I don't see it. An add to call button.
Group chat. Here we go. I'm googling it now. So, add friends, mix thoroughly. All the groups. You need to add your friends. I have you. Then click the button. Will bring up a window and everyone on your friends list. Oh, okay. I think I know what I gotta do. Where's add friends? Add friends? No. Send friend request. I already have you as a friend. Yeah. Add friend.
Get you figured out yet?
No. I'm working on it. So clicking the button will bring you up a window to everyone on your friends list that you can add to your newly created group DM. Hold on. You need to add your friends to your friends list. Once you have covered, open your friends list, then check out the new group DM button. Where the fuck? Oh, I found it. So there's actually a new group DM is what it's called, and it's in the top right corner of the screen. So I go to friends, new group DM. Here we go. I got it now.
I don't see it.
Here, I'm gonna create a group call. So if you click friends first, Jason.
Okay, friends.
And then in the top right corner, if you go to friends in the top right corner, you're gonna see.
Oh, there it is.
So yeah, it's Gangaros is who it is. You share a server with him. So his name's Gangaros. It's a million. So yeah, send Jason friend request. Go do that. You want to join the call. Oh, there we go. We got. All right, cool. We're here.
Okay, Jake really wanted me to add him in.
Yeah. Bring him in. Fuck it. Go ahead and bring him in. I'll be right back.
Okay, so do I ring this or?
Yeah. You. Ring
okay, I'll ring it right now. Okay.
I will be right back.
Okay, let me get this. How do I pop out the? Oh, there it is. Okay, there it is. Okay, let me.
My teleoffice means I just lost sound. Fuck.
Okay, it automatically transferred. This may not be a good idea, but you know what? I have to take a piss. Just give me a minute.
Hello, everybody. How are we doing tonight?
Hey, it's back on. I now have sound again. Nothing like a bit of casual ableism before things go on.
Hey, you want to see me actually on camera for once?
Ooh, spooky.
Oh, horrible, shitty room. It's completely dark in here.
Darkness is the fucking answer. Oh, man. I mean, like, what's it? I will say that the good point that's been made earlier on right-wingers is sort of, the way that I put it is, you've got to be hard and not sacrifice a single principle. You've got to, be on it about what you believe. But, like Trav said, you've got to have this semblance of, what's the word? You've got to be willing to deal with their issues. Like, you've got to attain to the bullshit that they're saying, respectfully listen to the what and the why as to what they believe, and then convince them otherwise. Because, I mean, the problem that we have is that we seem to get two types of I'm going to use Marxists, for example, because we're the worst out of all socialists. But all socialists can behave like this, but we seem to have this lofty idea about ourselves. So you get these two types of people. You get the one where you get these dickheads whom are so far up their own rear end that they think that anyone and everyone who presents the single inch of ideas that are against them, they shouldn't listen and then convince. They should just go rabid and start screaming at them like someone just shatting their cornflakes. Or number two, you get the types that will side with right-wingers and their ideas because, come on, man, you've got to get in with them and then convince them, which is also idiotic. Like, you've got to be willing to ask what, and then don't answer the what. You ask why, and then answer both, because you can never understand the what if you don't understand the why.
Or you go to, like, say, a right-wing conference, and you try as all to the best of your ability to pander to them as hard as you can, and you sit next to people like, I don't know, let's say the founder of the National Bolshevik Party.
And the leader of Action Français, a group that helped with the Holocaust in West Europe.
Guy, wait, just one thing. How do I add somebody else?
Add a friend request, I think.
So at the top there'll be a pin, and then next to it there'll be a friend-looking thing with a plus next to it.
Oh, there it is.
Press
Okay,
that.
I see it.
One Puma dropping in the DM.
What the hell? I can't see him on my friends list. I just added him.
Sometimes it was like that.
Could be
Yeah.
or... Oh, wait. Oh.
Add friends to DM. No, that's his. Holy fuck, Discord. Why?
Maybe he hasn't accepted the request yet.
No, he added me. Okay, Warren Puma, I'm trying to add you, but it says no servers in common, but I added him as a friend. Gotta love Discord.
Make Discord friendlier for boomers.
Fucking call me a boomer.
My brain operates like a boomer with computers, so I need everything to be like boomer tier levels. If you've been around when Raph is trying to help me do something on the computer, like I can hear him loading the gun and getting ready to shoot himself every time we go around. He's like,
Okay.
click the thing at the top of the screen, and I'm like, and there's like one thing there, and I should know what he's pointing towards, but there's all these blues and greens and flashy lights and stuff, but
I can't find him on my friends list. I did add him. He is there, because I click on his thing and it says, do you want to remove? So I know he's there. Why do I have like 5 people named Zhivago? Okay, if I send you his thing.
Yeah, I'll add him. And
Yeah, because clearly.
If you get an ad from the Stone Soviet, it's me, warmed Puma.
Yeah, oh, God. Why can't I just add people when I want to?
Too easy. Gotta make it as hard as possible.
That's how we won the war. We stopped producing tanks just before the war. Stopped mobilizing our military, and then all of a sudden mobilized it. This is just numbers. What?
It said copy ID, and that's what it said.
It says the ID again. Fine.
You guys can probably see my Discord screen. Just the 3 buttons, and there ain't shit there. Okay.
Yeah, no.
Can you add them?
Code should have the name in it. Gordo's in World War III when, boys.
Give him a fucking chance.
Hey, there we go. I can find that.
There. Yeah. Okay.
Hi,
I
Dick.
should be able to
What's
find
up?
it.
Comment, Trav.
Oh.
Oh shit! You double fisting that fucking sandwich.
I can't hear a word. I cannot hear a word you're saying.
The mic may be inserted into my ass. Not checked.
We're trying to get warmed Puma in here, but dude, this fucking God damn it!
All you gotta do, I'm pretty sure you can add people. I mean, you could end
I
this
can't. I
call
did.
and start a new one.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. How do we?
I could add him. I just need to be able to find him when I search it. It don't come up with some. How do I find a new Discord person?
Warm
How does it
Puma.
work? You know what? I'm gonna be even funnier. Send him mine so he can add me. That'll make things easier. Because once he's added me, I can add him in.
God, what a fucking mess! What a fucking goddamn mess.
We need to complete the trilogy. The World War trilogy brought to you by Netflix.
I swear to God, this is going to be like the worst Lord of the Rings redo ever.
It would be Lord of the Rings with the extended edition, so part 1 and part 2.
You know they say the best reviews are longer than the films? Imagine the people who got to review the extended edition of The Lord of the Rings. Like, God help them.
Yeah.
Especially if you're trying to, like, if you want to talk cinematography, because Lord of the Rings is some of the best fuck, I said the word once, I'm not going to be able to say it again. Cinematography ever to exist in a movie franchise. It's sort of like, what I find interesting about a lot of the things that people miss with certain films like the Star Wars prequels, Episode 3, as I don't know if it's the case today because we've had some pretty sick sword fight stuff in the last 20 years, but when it came out and up to, I know as far as 2011 it was still the case, Star Wars Episode 3 had the longest continuously filmed sword fight in movie history.
Really?
Yeah, the battle.
I knew
on
it was.
Mustafar.
I knew it was long. I didn't know it was the longest. I thought there'd be something like by like Ridley Scott or something in like one of his
They've got
earlier
cuts
films.
between the like it absolutely stops filming between certain fight scenes and other ones, so it's not continuous. Well, with the Star Wars one, they filmed it from start to end because it's all CGI, and then they chopped the different fights together when they were cutting it on the floor. Oh, sorry, Warm Puma, I wasn't looking. Professionalism. Warm. Hey! Hey! I got this going.
Is he there?
I've added him into the call. He can join now.
Oh,
You are one of us.
One of us. One of us.
Yo, it's good.
Go.
Hey, brother, welcome to the Discord call.
Hello,
Finally,
comrade.
dude. I've never used Discord before, so.
Let the,
Like shit.
you know, for somebody who's never used Discord before, he got it pretty fast.
Yeah, I know. I tried creating like a temporary account where you could just add the server URL and jump in, but I guess it doesn't really work like that. I don't know.
It's because we're in a group call. We're too cool for servers.
Yeah.
I'm saying that because we're not cool, but we can pretend we're cool. Isn't that the art of being a communist? We can believe.
Well, the art of being a communist is actually like caring about politics and wanting to make the world a better place and having the willingness to take the rationale of being more socially and group oriented to its logical conclusion rather than like half-ass being socially conscious or class conscious like many left liberals are.
Well, I mean, actually, that comes into many different issues. I'm glad you mentioned that because I mean, the way I principalize myself on it is I follow a principle that was important to me before as a communist, and that's my, I call it suicidal selflessness. It's essentially the situation where you're in where when someone else has an issue, you ignore your issues. Don't matter if you're a cripple, it don't matter if you're this, that, or the other. Just for myself, I don't put this on other expectations of other people. Obviously that applies to me because I am a cripple, but it's like, you know, I've got to deal with other people's issues. They're there, they're blatant. You know, if you see someone dying on the street, you don't walk past. That's the way I sort of principalize on it. But another important point is that this ignorance that does come from a lot of liberals who try and call themselves communist is a very important ignorance because class consciousness isn't a hodgy-podgy unitary thing that's all classes. It's class specific. So working class conscious is not the same as someone who's a bourgeoisie or petty bourgeoisie. That class consciousness is drastically different to that of the proletarian consciousness.
When it comes
like communists though, like isn't that just like bad publicity? Like imagine if you had all the same policy goals and ideals, but you just packaged it differently. That was more palatable to the public, so that you could actually gain popular support.
well,
Like nobody in the United States is going to support someone running as a communist. Like there's no way.
the thing is, when it comes to ruling class, the capitalist class, they are class conscious and they do have class solidarity to some extent. That's not to say bourgeois factionalism does not take place. It obviously does. We have the Republican and Democratic Party as testimonies to that. But otherwise, when it comes to actual like class warfare, the ruling class always has class solidarity. They generally look out for their own group's interests, and they are willing to sacrifice some of their own if it means protecting the entire group and protecting their own interests. Which is why, like, the factionalism between Republican, Democrats, and, you know, bourgeois parties in general is purely surface level, but then in practice, the Democrats are enabling the Republicans virtually every step of the way.
Yeah, and also, sorry, I just want to clarify. Even if you don't call yourself a communist, they're just going to say, and you have the same policies as a communist, they're going to say, well, you're just lying, or you're being a crypto-communist, or something like that. Because if you know the history of communism, it's had to change its name several times from like, like social democracy.
Social democrats became social fascists, so we had to rebrand.
And that's
So
That's just pretty much
And
the
the
history right
term
there.
is not nothingless. A lot of people live in republics, so social democrat is an oxymoronic term. But what I will say on consciousness, the bourgeoisie are typically conscious, proletarian typically not. That's capitalism in function. The way I would look at it, proletarian class consciousness builds towards socialism. We know that. Enough communists have talked about that. And the consciousness of the bourgeoisie is liberalism. That's what they prefer. They don't like it when it's fascist. It's useful for them. They like the usefulness, but they like liberalism. Laissez-faire is where they like to be. They like to just be able to invest here, spend money there, genocide a village there, genocide one there. They don't care. They like to just be able to do the status quo. One class that is typically broken up into separate sections and is a very interesting class to study on this would be the middle sector, the aristocracy, because you have the petty bourgeoisie, which is normally in line with bourgeois consciousness. A good example of the petty bourgeois sector of the labor aristocracy being always in line with the bourgeois consciousness would be the CIA. It has no government oversight, and it operates as a cultural institution of power that controls other cultural institutions of power. It's the way the bourgeoisie keep the finger on the benefactory class, the beneficiary class.
Has
But
every other
when the
country
rest-
has intelligence
but-
agencies.
So-
Plus, couldn't you get the working class more wealth without actually making every sector of the economy public? Like why can't you just do some sectors are public, like healthcare,
Wait.
some forms of insurance? Why do you gotta make everything public? Some sectors I think need to be private.
So hold on. Is this
Detractor,
your
I want to
question?
finish my
You-
point.
Wait, Jake.
I know I want to finish my point because this is distracting.
Jake.
This is detracting. I want to finish. In the labor aristocracy, which is split, normally, you then have the unconscious sector, which is the lower sector of the labor, or the middle, the bigger chunk. When they become conscious, class conscious, they formalize amongst fascism because the system has started to crumble and they're starting to panic. And when middle class people start to panic about the system falling apart, as is always said, it's easier for them to imagine a fascist state than it is for them to imagine a socialist state. And they prefer a fascist state anyway because they're not normally the ones being hit. They're normally the ones benefiting off of it. So consciousness forms into essentially three different camps: the liberal camp, the fascist camp, and the proletarian camp, and they are class distinctive positions. Now, other members of different classes are manipulated by different positions, but that is because the proletariat must be manipulated by all camps to achieve one's goals. Without the proletariat subdued and their consciousness destroyed, they cannot be overpowered, overwhelmed, and utilized for the benefactory of capitalism. So the labor aristocracy and the capitalists have a joint goal to suppress the proletariat.
Yeah, but isn't some inequality in a society good? Some level of
No.
economic inequality
hey,
kind of drives growth and production.
All right, so
Growth?
I held on, Jake, please. Are these? I just want to know real quick. Are these sincere questions? Are these your genuine feelings? I just want to make sure you're not playing devil's advocate or you're trolling. Do you
They're not really...
how would you describe your political beliefs just briefly? I just
Well,
want to make sure.
economically, I would describe myself as pretty progressive.
Okay.
I believe in Medicare for all.
Okay, so what's the progressive
but
idea of some inequality?
Jake.
Socially, I think
No. He's just offended me. I'm lumpen proletariat. Shut up.
Bro,
I want to know. No,
we can't have productive
I want to know. I'm asking a question. I'm asking a question. I'm asking. No. I'm only having to raise my voice because you're speaking over me. I'm asking a
I'm
question.
speaking over you because you're trying to speak over me,
I
dude.
don't
You
care.
wanna
Shut
talk
up.
over people
What
and you
is
fucking run your mouth and you don't get
progressive?
anyone else.
Yes, because he just poked at my fucking.
Whatever.
I'm
Hold on a second.
a lumpen proletariat, and I just heard someone say inequality is
No,
good.
hold on.
I am offended. Stop being a bitch and shut your fucking mouth.
To block out other people, though.
I'm asking Warmed Puma a question so he can speak. Shut up.
Well, bro,
Warmed-
conversations are not
shut-
one way. I was
shut-
trying to talk
shut-
to. All right, dude.
I don't
whatever.
care. He
Hold on
just
a second.
offended me. Shut up.
Yo, I'm gonna drop a link to my Discord. If you ever want to talk sometime.
Oh, I'm gonna drop a link to my Discord because I'm running away like a bitch because I didn't want JK because I was being ableist at the start because I don't like autistic people. Where? Run away, little bitch. Go on, fuck off.
Whatever.
Warmed Puma. If you think inequality is beneficial, how? Why? That's the question I'm trying to ask. As someone who's lumpen proletariat, who's suffered under oppression a lot because of inequality of economics, I'm trying to ask a question that hits me really fucking hard. But someone is being a little fucking bitch because he wants to ask little white boy questions.
As a level 14 victim, I am above criticism. I agree, Jake.
Somebody else, shouldn't they?
Mate, no, you aren't above criticism, but you think you are.
I don't think I'm above criticism.
Hours a week at work, shouldn't they earn a little more than somebody who only puts in 40 hours a week?
Yeah, Jake, stop.
That just seems reasonable. That's just like an incentive structure for people to actually like show up and do work.
What do you mean an incentive structure? Okay, what was the incentive to work and build cities? And yes, cities, I'm using that word, during primitive communism, where there was no class incentive to build. And yes, we did build.
There's never been a primitive communist society. I think like before.
Yes, there is. No, we lived in primitive communism for hundreds of thousands of years. No. Hundreds of thousands of years, and we have built things in that era.
Yeah, but that wasn't really communism, though. Communism.
Yes, it is. Communism is a classless, stateless, moneyless society.
Yeah, but what society can you point to that's been classless without a hierarchy? Like most societies, even small groups.
Most societies for 200,000 years, when they were nomadic tribes.
Yeah, but even tribes have a hierarchy. Even a tribe has a chief, or like some elder that gives direction.
Did I use the word hierarchy? I said a classless, stateless, moneyless society. Hierarchies is not what I used as a terminology. I'm not an anarchist.
So, hold on, real quick. I am about to leave, but I dropped Warped Puma. I did drop a link to my Discord. If you want to actually have an honest, productive conversation, I implore you.
Honest, productive conversation. Don't be a cheeky prick. 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 I am not having his ableism. An honest, productive conversation. He's doing his white boy shit. I will not have someone say economic poverty is a good thing and then have someone try and white boy the situation. Fuck off.
Was a good thing.
Don't white boy the situation with me. No, I'm still speaking. Don't white boy the situation with me. Now I'll tell you why poverty isn't fucking good. Poverty fucking kills. That's why it ain't good. And do you know why you don't need an incentive for it? Who's gonna maintain society if it's not maintained? That's your fucking incentive. Who's gonna build? What's gonna be constructed? How are you going to eat? How are you going to do anything on these computers in front of you? Do you really think you need to be paid to want those things? Do you think that a want for these things comes from being paid money, or just because these things are nice things to have?
Well, I mean, you need money to live.
No. Do you think these objects are great because they cost money?
Do I think these objects are
Does
great?
food fill my stomach because it costs money? So if I remove money from the equation, will I starve when I eat food?
Well, no, you would not starve. But how would you obtain the food without money? Because to get the food, you either have to grow it yourself, which then we'd be living in like a third world country where we all have to grow our own stuff. Like, what's that called?
Agrarian.
Like subsistence agriculture.
Wait. The problem is we wouldn't be abusing the world.
It wouldn't be money. It would just be trading goods. Like, you got tobacco, I'll trade you some rice for that. Like, money is useful because then we don't have to trade goods. We have some form of value that we can all agree on and use that instead of bartering with goods. How would you get food if you didn't have money other than subsistence agriculture? Or
Exchange. All money is an extra gear in the poignance of exchange.
Yeah, but how would you how would you set up an exchange like that? Like, who would be in control of that?
What
to
do
make
you
sure that it's
need?
actually,
What
like,
do I need? Because in the world, not everyone can produce everything. So what you do is you develop self-reliancy as much as a nation can, and then you exchange the goods in between.
Yeah, but then you need some, like, system in place to do that, and I wouldn't trust, like, a system of, like, just, like, a central command government that's just handing out food, and you get, like, a ration card. Nobody likes that. Like, they had that in Vietnam for a long time, and they got rid of it because it's super ineffective, and it causes stuff like famine. Because if you're not making money off the crops you produce, and you're not getting anything in exchange for it, like, imagine
Why
if you
do I
owned,
need to
like,
make something?
12
No.
fields of corn.
Why do I need to make something? If you're getting something, I'm getting something, that's fine. I don't need to make something on top. I don't need you to pay me more. Let me tell you one of my biggest criticisms of the Soviet Union. One of my biggest criticisms of the Soviet Union was when they sold people tanks, when they sold you food, when they sold you weapons, when they sold you anything, they made a profit. In socialism, when money does still exist, which it does in the early stages, you should sell at a flat rate. What's the cost of production? How much can I make back?
Yeah, but what's the incentive to make anything at that point if there's no income generated? Like, imagine if you had a job where you just made stuff on your own and sold it at the price that you made it for. Like, what would be the point in making it at all? Like, so you can give it to somebody else for the price you paid? That just doesn't seem like it would work. Like, that seems like antithetical to human psychology.
Wait, 1 second. Jonas noticed something that I missed. You just said handing out free food causes famines. Please explain that.
Well, yeah. I mean, we had famines during the Cultural Revolution in China, and in Vietnam, after the United States withdrew,
Yeah.
they had a system. They tried to implement, like, a communist system where they gave people waivers to go get food, and it caused famine.
No.
Like,
Okay.
I went there and I talked to
Sorry,
people
but
about it. They said it
that's
was horrible.
that's not what caused the famine.
Well, what caused
There
the
were
famine?
two primary factors. One, there was there was a heat wave that did destroy a lot of crops, and the second one, Mao even warned people not to do this. Don't over report what you're producing. Don't over report how much food that you have, because that could happen. And then later, after the famine, what did they find out? That people massively over-reported how much they were actually producing in order to look better. But I would also mind that this only happened one time, and then never again.
Same thing with the
Yeah, but China
USSR.
completely abandoned that system. If that system worked, then why would they completely
They
abandon
didn't abandon it right away. That's different. They didn't abandon it because that happened. Because people who were opposed to that kind of system and wanted individual kind of things got into power. One didn't really have anything to do with the other.
It was a counter-revolution by the bureaucracy.
It seems like it would have stayed in perpetuity. I
No,
don't know,
not necessarily. If it's not what you
imagine-
want, if it's not what people in power wanted. When the capitalist roters who wanted to take a capitalist path got in, they changed it. Keep in mind that famine happened one time and then never again, even though that system did continue for at least a few decades afterwards. They were warned,
Yeah, but
do
even
not
now,
do that.
like,
What do
but
you mean? What do you mean now?
nobody wants to do global commerce, really, with, like, a communist nation like that. So, like, now, if China had a big heat wave or something that affected the crops, they could import food from other nations because other nations want to trade with them because now their currency has real value. Like, I don't know. It just seems like the whole system of, like, taking a ticket and going and getting your portion of food. Like, what if you want extra one year?
You could. In China specifically, there were, like, public kitchens. You can just go in and eat whenever you felt like it. During the Revolutionary era.
I mean, like, I just don't see how that would work out at all. Like, obviously, they tried it in Vietnam, they tried it in China.
What do you mean they tried it in Vietnam? They didn't try free food in Vietnam.
Yeah, they did. They tried ration cards and distributing it.
Yeah, ration
Yeah, during the
cards.
war.
Yeah, so basically, what
After the
happens?
war, after the US
What
withdrawal.
What happened in Britain? during World War II, we used ration cards. Now, do you know what the difference is between Vietnam during the Vietnamese War and during the post-war period of Vietnam and Britain during World War II? Vietnam did not have a surplus of food. You know what's the funny thing about Britain? Britain did not only have a surplus of food, they had enough food to feed Bengal and prevent the famine there. They had enough food to feed the British people during World War II and didn't feed them properly either. And they kept a food surplus to oppress the Greek people. That's a country that sells its food. That's a country that uses its food for imperialistic measures. The use of rations in Vietnam was during a fucking war where they had to ration their food. And even still, if you can create a system where food is...
It was after the US withdrawal.
Yeah, after the US withdrawal. Didn't I just say prior? During the war and in the post-war period. I don't know if you know this, but Vietnam had 2 more wars after the war with the US. A war with Cambodia and a war with China. And then the socialist experiment of Vietnam stopped because they failed. Because they failed to implement planned economy, which is a completely different topic.
Well, has any country ever successfully implemented a planned economy that still exists today?
Yes.
What country? Like Cuba?
Cuba and the DPRK.
Well, I think Cuba would be a better example, but they just had like a bunch of protests because they weren't getting enough stuff. And the DPRK, people are still starving to death. Like, I don't know if you ever
there's no mass starvation right now. There was in the 90s, yes, when the same heat wave hit China and Vietnam. They didn't get aid. China had so much surplus that it wasn't a problem. And Vietnam just got shit hand over fist by had a shitload of cash from the United States and just bought it from China. The DPRK was left on its own. That starvation was quite a while ago.
I think if you look at the statistics now, I was just reading about that, how there's still a height imbalance between North Korea and South Korea. Like
no shit, there was a gigantic famine that would cause that.
No, but like it still exists today because
of course it will.
I must also explain that people in mountainous regions are typically shorter as well. Do I have to explain how gravity works?
Yeah.
Well, no, the imbalance between the two is a result of that famine. If you have a process that interrupts your ability to grow, that lasts your entire life.
And
so you're telling me
and the only people who are in a and the people who are grown up who would be rated for that size development would be people who were born in the 90s when the famine was happening. The most affected group by a famine, because famines affect children more than it affects anyone. Mortality rates shoot through the roof during famines.
So you would rather live in the DPRK than a Western country?
I certainly would, because they treat disabled people very well. And I don't know if you know this, but I'm a fairly malnourished person myself and barely afford to live and survive in the Western countries. I've been homeless twice and I'm only 23.
I would also like to add that this is because the DPRK is isolated. Without the Soviet Union as its trading partner anymore, and being 80% of its trade was being done with the Soviet Union, and then all of a sudden that's gone, and then this hits, that would destroy any country, period, regardless of who it was, and they had nobody to give them any help. That would
their authoritarian system of government too.
You're telling me that other people, so what? So that they deserve to starve people out? They're economically... so everybody around you... So therefore it's justified in your eyes. I don't like the system of government, so therefore you don't get any food. Or I don't want to help you because of that.
I'm not saying I think they should starve. I'm just saying people don't like...
You literally just defended it.
I'm just explaining why they're starving. It's because people don't like that generally, and they don't want to trade and support a government that has Holocaust camps for political...
Oh, shut the fuck up. There are no fucking Holocaust camps.
You know me, Park, or any, of the...
You actually believe the woman who's been discredited by her own people. And by her own
Yeah.
people, I mean like conservative
South Korea.
commentators.
Like South Korea doubts her shit. You know, not just the North. Everyone thinks she's fucking bonkers. The mountain in the north of North Korea is somehow hundreds of miles away from where it's meant to be, based on her descriptions. Trains, according to her, run once every month. Mate, I can show you videos of multiple trains going at the same time.
Like, there's not many people from there who
No,
actually
what I'm
escape.
telling you, no, I'm telling you specifically. No, I'm not having that bullshit. I just told you specifically. She said only one train runs a month, and I could go on the internet now and find you a picture from the subway of DPRK where there's multiple trains. Why would there only be one train a month if there's multiple trains running? The DPRK is the size of Wales, if not smaller. I can tell you now more than one train a month runs through Wales. Or Cymru, as I should be correctly calling it. Wales is a colonial name.
Okay, Puma, you've triggered me quite significantly. As the grandson of somebody who was a U.S. Marine who fought in the Korean War, first of all, you don't seem to know a lot of history. Like, first of all, calling Korean camps Holocaust.
No, the North Korea invaded the south of the peninsula.
Yeah, it's their country.
Actually, that is a lie. That is a lie.
That is the lie.
The South Korea. No. The South invaded first. The South invaded first.
South Korea
In 1950, they took North Korean villages at the border. 1950. The U.S. and the South elected to have the war on a Sunday so that they could claim that they would never have started the war because two Christian countries would never start a war on a Sunday. There is documentation of this.
But
I mean, even besides that, Yeonmi Park literally claimed the word love doesn't exist in the North.
And what?
She literally claimed the word love doesn't exist in the North.
Well, does it? I don't know. I'm not from there, so I'm not.
Well, that's
believe
pretty fucking retarded if you're actually going to believe that.
Yeah. I don't know, though. But I even
love
listened
is
to
the one
that
word that
soldier
is
who
in
was
every
escaping-
language.
The video
Every
of him
language.
escaping through the DMZ, and I heard his description of North Korea, and it sounded pretty horrible. Like,
Fuck,
you see a
man,
mass exodus of people from the north trying to get to the south, but you never see a mass exodus of people from the south trying to go north. And it seems like the south just has a better quality of life.
I suppose if you're not being
Okay,
sanctioned
okay.
to death, yeah.
The United States killed somewhere between 20 to 30% of the Korean population during the Korean War. I hope you realize that. It was somewhere in the neighborhood of like 3 million people.
In the military task force book, for soldiers on the ground, this isn't for special agents, for soldiers on the ground, by General Curtis, in the first page of the fucking book, it tells you to kill men, women, and children. For every Korean, civilian or combatant, is an enemy combatant of the United States government. That is a specific directive in the book for the war on Korea, and they did the same in Vietnam. Genocide, because genocide is better than communism. That is the motto of the American government. Genocide is better than communism. They bombed the fields to the point where today they are so poisoned with lead, you need fertilizers to even grow a shittily grown crop there. They were abused. I am still speaking. Shut your fucking mouth. Shut your fucking mouth or I'll remove you. I am still speaking.
Dude, you got like anger.
Shut your fucking mouth. No. You have just spoken. You have just spoken like a fucking fascist. Shut your mouth. Now I will finish.
You're a fascist. Shut your mouth.
No, I didn't say you are. I said you spoke like one. So shut your mouth. If you think you're a progressive, you'll shut your mouth and let me finish. Now, you said about the South and defectorship. Let me tell you this. Shut your fucking mouth or fuck
your
off.
Rudeness is just like
Shut your fuck. No, I am telling you how you need to be told because you're being a cheeky little cunt on purpose. I know right-wing tactics when I see it. Stop trying to gaslight. Shut your mouth and fucking listen.
Like you're the one being rude.
Shut You're fucking
Like, I was just
because you're
trying to have a
because you're
conversation
interrupting
with
me.
you, and you're
Because
saying,
you're
"Shut the fuck
interrupting
up."
me.
Pretty sure I
You are
didn't
the one
hurt
being
anyone.
rude by interrupting me. Do you not know how speech etiquette works? Shut your fucking mouth and fucking listen.
Well, your speech
Someone
etiquette
someone
is you
else
just
said in the
speak
chat,
the
you
whole
are
time.
gaslighting. Shut your fucking mouth, you piece of fucking shit. Now, South Korea, defectorship. North. There are people who have defected to the north. There are people whom have been trafficked by the south to the north. Plenty of them of which want to go back to the north. Some of them expected better achievements from going to the south because of economic downpour, and then when they got there they found a very oppressive, individualistic society that didn't care for the poorest members of society and left them to rot out in the cold. And then people who were trafficked here from North Korea by the south, not only do they still want to go back to the north, but they became stronger communists in the fucking south, researching the history of their fucking northern counterparts. There's fucking shit tons of history of it. And you know what's the interesting thing about these people compared to your fancy South Korean defectors that you like to talk about that really hate the North? They haven't been paid to say what they say. They haven't gone into the middle class and all of a sudden they're getting all these money deals and newsreel deals and all that crap. They're poor, they're working class, and they're on their fucking arse. And they're not allowed to fly out of the country. They're basically segregated, unable to operate and function unless they sign themselves away to South Korean propaganda to sell out their northern counterparts. And fuck off, Trav. You're terrible to represent anything because you just stick your tongues into people's asses. Go beg Haz to give you a special deal so long as you rim his fucking arsehole out, you cheeky prick.
Well, here's my main thing. Like, you watch documentaries about North Korea, and you never see people who talk bad about the Kim regime. Like, in the United States, I'm pretty sure I would be considered a political dissident because I don't hold a lot of the views as the status quo. So what do you think happens to political dissidents in the DPRK? Like, I think freedom of speech for the public should be like one of the highest values we have in society. Not imprisoning or locking people up for having opinions that aren't popular with the government or the status quo. And like, whenever you watch a documentary about North Korea or you hear people describe it, like, it sounds like you couldn't be a political dissident there.
Who the fuck is in Belmarsh prison right now? Who the fuck is in Belmarsh prison right now? Do you know your shit about people being about freedom of speech?
I've never seen a North Korean
No. I'm asking you a question. No. Stop. I'm asking you a specific question. I am asking you a specific. Shut your mouth. Shut up. I am asking you a.
People are going to give you a wide variety of opinions.
You are reiterating. I am asking. Who is in Belmarsh prison?
In North Korea, it's all we love.
Who is in Belmarsh prison right now? Who is in Belmarsh prison right now? Who is in Belmarsh prison right now? Who is in Belmarsh in England in Belmarsh prison right now? Who? Famous journalist. Who? You seem to care about freedom of speech. You seem to care about freedom of speech. Do you not know who Julian Assange is? Motherfucker, do you not know who Julian Assange is? You're going on about freedom of speech and you don't even know who Julian Assange is. Motherfucker, you're going on about freedom of speech and you don't know who Julian Assange is.
I know who Julian Assange is. He was a whistleblower.
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. Oh my god, you don't even know. That's so cute. He was a news guy. He's a journalist. Chelsea Manning was a whistleblower. Julian Assange is a fucking journalist.
About the abuses, I believe it was the abuses in the Iraq
He
war.
leaked information about Iraq, Afghanistan, the US military, the British military, the Russian government, and a lot of stuff involving them. The Australian government. There's a lot of things Julian Assange has leaked because it's been given to him and he's had the ability to do so because that freedom of speech you're on about is supposed to grant him complete legal safety to produce that material. Once a whistle has been blown, a journalist is legally allowed to produce the information. Where is he? He is in Belmarsh prison. One of the worst prisons to be locked in the UK. It is where the UK sticks rapists and murderers. That is where he is.
Freedom of speech our freedom of speech laws aren't as far as I'd want them to go, but we have greater freedom of speech here than
No. I'm
DPRK.
telling you. No, I'm telling you. No. Don't legal your way out of this. I said the freedom of speech laws we have now grant him the ability that he shouldn't be in prison. It's not the laws. It's the system. If you go against the system, they don't want you there. Do you think the DPRK has problems of people saying stupid shit? No. What they have a problem with, as any system does, is people being dissidential. People being against the system. You are not a dissident. You are an AOC Democrat type. That is what you are. You want Medicare for all, some better jobs, and maybe some state ownership of oil firms and other big corporations. That's it. You don't want socialism. You are not a dissident. You are a social democrat. And social democrats are social fascists. All you are is one side. All you are is one side of the corporatist coin that is used by the system to buy off the working class.
Well, I would disagree on that, but I would still hold up that the United States has greater freedom of speech protection than probably the United Kingdom and DPRK. I would probably agree with you there on that.
What about Eugene V. Debs? How do you explain that? He was arrested.
What did you say?
Eugene V. Debs.
Who is that? Explain to me who that is.
Oh, that's
okay. God, I'm not gonna have to explain all of history for you, but basically, he was an anti-war protester who opposed our involvement in World War I. He was a socialist leader, leader of the Socialist Party, ran for president several times. He got arrested, despite what freedom of speech law said. Because guess what? Freedom of speech only applies to whenever the ruling class wants it to apply, and when it gets in the way of their interests, they will do away with it just as easily. So that's why they passed the Sedition Act of 1917 that Obama also has been using up to this day. And there was also, and they can do all sorts of things, like there was also the Summer of Red Terror where they lynched black people. There was also the persecution of German Americans in 1917. I mean, we could go all, there was anti-draft riots in the United States. Like, trust me, you have a very warped history of the United States. Like, you have to, like, really open up a history book.
Well, in some times of crisis and emergency, I could see where it would be useful for the government to kind of crack down on freedom of speech and freedom of the press. Like during the U.S. Civil War, I know Abraham Lincoln partly suspended freedom of the press for writers in the North, press writers that were writing about how we should have peace with the Confederacy and how we should let
so here's the point. No, you just opened up a perfect
on that, and that was actually useful because he ended the Civil War by conquering the South and ending slavery for the whole of North America.
Okay, so how about this? Half your country is being occupied. Half your country is being occupied by the United States, and the whole of the world has a war against communism. That is a worse situation than being just in a civil war. You're in a civil war, and the whole world is against you. And yes, they are in a civil war because the Korean War still hasn't ended. Legally has not ended.
Yeah, well, I'm sure, I mean, there's probably some solutions. Like, Donald Trump went to go meet with Kim Jong-un. I think that's something, like, presidents from now on should probably do, is go over there and just kind of, like, cool tensions off so we don't get into a nuclear war.
Didn't cool
but
tensions
if people
off.
don't want to trade with them, then how do you force people
you don't
to trade
even
with
know,
them?
because the DPRK knew the US was going to shaft it. They literally used that as a motion to show the world that they have tried to go down the path of denuclearizing to remove the sanctions, and that didn't work. So now, and they said this in a decree to the whole fucking country at one of the fucking conferences at the start of the year. that we have tried denuclearizing on their terms, and now the only denuclearization that will happen in DPRK is when the whole world denuclearizes. And they've joined the Denuclearization Act, where when the whole world removes their nukes, they'll join. But until that, they're keeping them. That's what the US signified, because they know the US will fuck with them. You've been living in the US less time than they've been fucking with the US. The US has been fucking with them since 1945, when they went into the country and forced the Korean People's Republic to be split in half down the 48th parallel. That's
honestly,
how long the
if we're being honest,
with.
I think if the U.S. didn't intervene in the Korean War, I think if the North actually...
I'm not about the Korean War.
South,
1945 is 5 years before the Korean
North Korean
War.
government would be dismantled by now. But I don't think there's any keep up that amount of political repression if the geographic area of like the whole peninsula was united and they had that many people in control. Honestly, I bet North Korea wouldn't even exist
for?
if the United States didn't intervene.
How long did the Soviet Union exist for? How long did the Soviet Union exist for? 80 years? How long ago was World War II? 80 years?
1939 and 1945, so...
No, end of World War II. That's when the DPRK formed, 1948 to now. 80 years. So, actually, the USSR, I don't know if you know this, was the largest territorial country to ever exist. That lasted 80 years. The DPRK is half the size of Wales. That has lasted 80 years. Your argument is bollocks.
I don't know. So what do you guys think about the whole thing with Ukraine right now? Do you think like NATO and the US is justified for actually building up like their troops in response to the buildup of Russian troops? Because I was looking at it at first, I was like, I don't know if we should go to war over Ukraine, but at the same time, I don't think Russia should be able to like take territories from other countries, like other sovereign countries.
They're not taking territory from them.
Well, they took Crimea.
No,
by force.
they didn't. They didn't take it by force. The people of Crimea voted to leave.
Yeah, but like imagine if like people in the state of Texas voted to leave the United States, like we wouldn't just let that happen. Like we shouldn't let that happen because that's our territory.
Okay, first of all, I'm not going to let you get away with your genocidal comments about Korea. Like, that's ridiculous. So, do you support sanctions on North Korea? Yes or no? Answer now.
Yeah.
So you believe that it's okay to deliberately...
Repression.
So you believe it's okay to deliberately underdevelop them, block them from buying food, and buying the necessary means to produce food.
But I do have to stop all of this just to publicly... No, this isn't to do with the topic. You guys can continue in a second. I've got to stop and just announce to everyone... I've got to stop and announce to everyone that fellow traveler thinks autism is a mental illness, so you should all take into consideration that is not only ableist, that is disrespectfully disgusting, and should be demonstrably denounced by everyone. To think that autism is a mental illness is disgusting. It's a disability. How fucking dare you? How fucking dare you? You.
I think in the DSM it is
disgusting piece of shit.
As a mental disorder in the DSM.
It is not a mental disorder. It is a neurological disability. Shut your fucking mouth.
Well, neurological disabilities and mental disorders.
No, shut your mouth. They're not the same. Fuck off.
If it was
have ableism. Ableism is not to be condoned by anyone.
Yeah, if autism was an actual... Yeah, I've tried to apply several times from the U.S. government for my disabilities, and autism is not listed as one of them. But yeah, that guy was...
It's not simply that people should be forced to trade with you. That's not the issue. The issue is the United States preventing other people from being able to trade with them when they want to. When you control the
Yeah.
banking system and block other people from being able to use it, that is a problem.
Yeah, I just fucking checked my phone and I found out that someone's passed away. Oh no, it's Sam. Oh no.
I don't know. Is that an online guy?
It's Robert Hall's mate.
Oh, you didn't know Sam died? He died a couple
I didn't
days
know
ago.
Sam died. I haven't been on
What?
Facebook.
Oh. Oh yeah, he died a couple days ago.
Oh.
Oh.
I think this might be a good time to end the stream.
Yeah.
Oh man, I didn't know that, man.
Oh, I thought you
I'm
knew.
sorry, man. To Rob, I didn't check my messages.
Oh shit, I thought you
man,
knew.
that's bad on me. I didn't know. All respect and solidarity out there. Sam was a true brother. He was a true brother.
Yeah, rest in peace, man.
Yep. R.I.P.
Okay, I think that would be enough for a stream for today. So
Yeah.
yeah,
It's been one of them.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I'll let it go for now, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
All right. You have a good one.